Hello, my name is Brigadier General Voris McBurnett, 36th Commandant of the Joint Forces Staff College. Starting as the Armed Forces Staff College in 1946 and through continuous adaptation, today's Joint Forces Staff College continues to meet the needs of the Joint Force through innovation in delivery methods, identifying the needs of the force, and examining the evolving global framework to inform the highest quality joint professional military education. Founded on the core principles of teamwork, trust, and mutual understanding among the services, JFSC's foundation for the future ties directly to the 75 years of evolution and success in meeting the Joint Forces needs and leading joint education across the Department of Defense. Today, the first truly joint military college remains the leader in producing joint warfighters for our nation. Established by General Eisenhower and Admiral Nimitz, the brain trust during the tumultuous period following World War II, a time when joint education and assignments held limited value, then Armed Forces Staff College met unique challenges, finding its way through often uncharted territory. Beginning 75 years ago as a 5.5 month staff college aimed at officers in the early field grade rank, JFSC of today is a leading innovator in Joint Professional Military Education Phase 2, offering a range of programs that vary in audience, duration, and delivery method. The Goldwater-Nichols Act of 1986 and the creation of the Joint Specialty Officer Program renewed calls for cooperation and established the new systemic roles and requirements for joint education. Later, the attacks of 9/11 and the escalation of the global war on terrorism drove increases in the size and mission scope of the force, causing an increased demand for JPME2 graduates who could operate jointly across a broad spectrum with authentic unity of effort. Today, JFSC provides multiple methods to receive high quality joint education and attain JPME2 credentials, producing over 50% of the force's required annual JPME2 graduates, and remains the only college offering JPME2 to major and lieutenant commanders en route to their first joint assignment. JFSC continues leading in teaching emerging joint doctrine and solidifying an authentic joint culture. Relevance, currency, and cutting edge targeting education are JFSC's hallmarks.
On April 24th, 1980, following the Iranian Revolution just months earlier, the United States launched Operation Eagle Claw. The mission was bold: rescue the captured United States Embassy workers in Tehran. However, a lack of joint planning experience posed problems for the services and units tasked with the mission. Almost immediately after the operation started, only 5 of the planned 8 RH-53 Delta helicopters made it to the first staging area, named Desert 1. This is where Karl von Clausewitz's writings on chance and frictions emerge. One helicopter crashed into an EC-130, killing all 8 service members. President Jimmy Carter canceled the operation immediately. Following an immediate investigation under Chief of Naval Operations Admiral James L. Holloway III, the report revealed deficiencies in mission planning, command and control, and inter-service operability, and became the catalyst for change within the Department of Defense and the Joint Force. However, while change was needed, world affairs continued to keep the United States and the Joint Force engaged. Closer to the American borders, Grenadian military forces arrested and killed Prime Minister Maurice Bishop on October 19, 1983. This coup attempt would once again see the United States military in action. Learning from the Bay of Pigs fiasco and the more recent disaster at Desert 1, the United States launched Operation Urgent Fury to protect and evacuate Americans, neutralize Grenadian forces, all while stabilizing the tiny island nation. Learning from Operation Eagle Claw, the operation into Grenada showed an increased performance by the Joint Force, but one last event would force the Department of Defense into a more permanent reform. While United States forces were engaged in Grenada, an Iranian suicide bomber killed 241 Marines on October 23, 1983 in Lebanon. With the waning of the Cold War, it was clear the Department of Defense needed reform. By the 1980s, the impetus for reform was clear. The Beirut bombing, Operations Eagle Claw, and Urgent Fury pushed the United States and the Department of Defense towards the reforms of the Goldwater-Nichols Act. This law fixed many of the inter-service rivalries that emerged in the Cold War. Finally, the lessons learned from World War II and the Cold War would reshape the Department of Defense into a more agile organization for the 21st century. The new organization would be first tested during the invasion of Panama and Operation Just Cause, and eventually Operation Desert Storm and Desert Shield.
I think that Goldwater Nichols, obviously one of the most important contributions, was the requirement for joint education. I think the establishment of a joint education structure, where places like Joint Forces Staff College, the National Defense University, and our other joint institutions within the NDU, that was a critically important part of not only bringing our service members together and learning in the same environment, but getting a greater appreciation for what is created by operating jointly. The synergy, the economy of force, the ability to pull together the best capabilities and to unite them in a way that's extremely formidable in our application of force, and to share ideas and thoughts. And it obviously, with the creation of the joint structure, the combatant commanders provided a valuable source of planners and people that understood how to operate in a joint environment. So to me, it's invaluable in our whole approach to the way we get a collective benefit out of all our services and what it brings to the table, and then understanding through joint education how to develop those capabilities to a true joint mission capable concept. Before Goldwater Nichols and before we obviously had a formal joint education process and structure in place, there were officers that would serve in what would have been considered joint assignments, and they brought a lot of service experience, but they really didn't understand how to translate that experience into some sort of common process and planning development, and obviously how to get a greater appreciation for what the other services bring. So I think it's not only a matter of the education, but the collective joint experience and sharing going through that process with others from different services, and then how to bring it together in a coherent way that gets all our joint capabilities employed into their ultimate beneficial way.
JC2IOS courses are primarily focused on providing the Joint Force qualified planners for operations in the information environment. Our courses are primarily, and in some cases such as military deception, the exclusive method for certifying joint planners for the combatant commands. We are training courses focused on practitioners rather than traditional JPME courses focused on leader development. What makes our courses unique is that we conduct short courses varying between 1 to 4 weeks through a variety of course delivery methods rather than long-term resident classes typical of NDU. We have virtual, mobile training team, and resident courses. Our student population spans the Joint Force, interagency, and partners. And for the most part, our student population is rank agnostic. But typically, most of our students are mid-grade officers and senior NCOs. The bulk of our courses are focused on operations in the information environment, with our Joint IO Planners course serving as JC2IOS's capstone course. JC2IOS's 4-week virtual Joint IO orientation course serves as the prerequisite for the Joint IO Planners course.
All right, so the Joint and Combined Warfighting School is a unique school. We are a 10-week program that offers JPME 2 to the DoD. We're divided into 3 different modalities. We have a 10-week resident program where students come to the Norfolk campus, and we do that 4 times a year. We have a satellite program where our teaching teams will go out to the combatant commands, and they will execute the curriculum as the same as the resident program. And then we also have a hybrid program that is designed originally for Guard and Reserve components. And that's a 40-week program that is 37 weeks online and 3 weeks here in resident at the Norfolk campus. JCWS is very unique in that, first off, we are the only school that offers JPME to students who are already assigned to combatant commands. We are the only school that offers JPME 2 to 04 officers also. And we are able to put through more students through JCWS than any other school combined. We average about 1,000 students per year that go through the 3 different modalities. One of the unique things about JCWS is our ability to adapt our curriculum real time. Because we have a 10-week program, we are constantly updating our curriculum based on current strategic guidance and direction. So I think that is both a strength and what will be the future of us, is to continue to adapt to the guidance that our leaders give us. So we will be able to continue to provide those things as defined by Title X, but also continue to be able to adapt to changing situations in the real world.
The Joint Advanced Warfighting School is a 10.5-month senior service college, a senior level course that confers master's degrees and JPME Phase 2. The master's degree is in strategy and joint campaign planning. So the Joint Advanced Warfighting School produces what we like to call historically informed, strategically minded joint operational artists. Truly, we provide the joint force with specific outplacement for our graduates at combatant commands, subunified commands, and the joint staff. Our outplacement process with those 59 specific JDAL billets makes us very unique. This is a robust program that we know focuses directly on joint warfighting and joint warfighting concepts that they will take and implement and employ directly for combatant commanders and for the joint staff.
For over 3/4 of a century, the Joint Forces Staff College has proudly executed and staunchly defended the joint vision of General of the Army Dwight D. Eisenhower, Fleet Admiral Chester W. Nimitz, and Congressman Ike Skelton. The college maintains its founding principle to foster mutual confidence and understanding among the services, and today this expands to include our multinational and interagency partners. The college embodies those values in its mission statement: to educate national security professionals to plan and execute operational level joint, multinational, and interagency operations, to instill a primary commitment to joint, multinational, and interagency teamwork, attitudes, and perspectives. As the world evolves, JFSC continues to adapt and transform to meet the Joint Forces needs. It produces practitioner scholars operating at differing capacities based on their experiences and knowledge of joint, interagency, intergovernmental, and multinational operations. No other institution educates as many joint warfighters for our nation's military, and no other institution has been focused on its truly joint mission as long as JFSC. Looking to the future, JFSC continues to provide a preponderance of highly qualified JPME2 graduates annually and has diversified alumni capable of operating across the spectrum of military operations. JFSC alumni serve in uncharted futures with the most critical tool: teamwork. There is no doubt that Eisenhower and Nimitz would be proud of the college they created, but more importantly, of the Joint Force leadership that continues to bring their initial vision to life in the defense of the nation. Now, to the next 75 years.